call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. We do have a lengthy meeting. We have the agenda before us. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions from the agenda?
I need to add unfinished business number 1, employment agreement.
And then change number 1 to number 2.
Correct.
Okay.
For our new business, number 2, window quotes. And then, under concerns of trustees, just thank you, and speed table.
And I'd like to add under concerns of trustees, Orla, O-R-L-A.
Okay, so just to recap, we have under concerns of trustees, a thank you, a speed table, and Orla. And the wall director, we will move forward with number 1.
Which is just to enter into the attached employment agreement.
And I will move on that agreement.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
That takes us to number 2.
And that is just a resolution to have Scott sign the documents necessary for the Monarch Meadows Preserve project.
We passed this before.
Yes.
Updated, so.
Correct, yeah, this will be an updated version, so I will move on unfinished business number 2.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
That takes us to new business. Are you gonna do new
Yes.
business also?
That's just a payment to Uline for 100 chairs.
Also move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes. I'll take number 2, which was window quotes. So as you, I know we've had some prior discussion. We got I'm gonna say 4 different providers providing quotes, of which, let's see, I think there's like 11 total, I think it's 11 bids, because 2 of them did 4 each, and then the other 2 did 2, so actually 10. Short version, through the assessment, there are 2 bids that are exceed the threshold of $50,000, and just based upon competitive bids, well, outside of the required bids for anything over 50,000, I say we rule those out. But then, even if you were to look at them, the ones got blinds, we don't need. So really, what this comes down to, everything that I did the analysis spreadsheet on. All of the bids but 2 were all double pane, low E, argon. They all included installation, hauling off of debris, all the proper sheet metal work on the outside to wrap them. You would have seen through the quotes that everybody was quoting 37 windows, with the exception of one which you go to 21, and somebody may go, well, why 16 difference? If you walk around this building and you count the number of window units right now, there's 37. However, there's only 21 openings. So like these windows behind us, each one is an opening, and the windows are nothing more than, tied together by this and everything. This is not a structural beam, so the quote that I'm going to recommend for approval to proceed forward with creates 22 Provia Endure windows, sandstone, outside of confirming with the provider who double-checked the quotes and installation is involved. We're looking at 3 to 4 months lead time potentially on these. They may come in, but they said realistic expectations 3 to 4 months. That's putting us September, October. I'm pretty sure we all agree it's more desirable to install them nicer weather, not that they couldn't do it in inclement weather. We'd be looking at a 3 to 4 day install, but that said, we had quotes from Perry Distributors, Easy Window and Siding, Gunton Corporation / Sapella Window and Door, and the other one from Canton Aluminum, which Canton Aluminum coming in at the lowest and best quote for 22 windows. I would make a motion that we proceed forward with the bid from Canton Aluminum for the replacement of the Township Hall windows in an amount not to exceed $23,000.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. First of all, thank you for putting all this together. That's hard to follow. And, we all looked at that and we also saw some discrepancies. And it made it a little easier. Also, we want to thank Marilyn for reaching out, coordinating all that, and working with all the people that came in here to do that. So I just think it's time. Those are original windows.
Yeah, we've got, the reason that we're looking, that combination of crank casements aren't working, we have blinds that don't work, we have a lot of seals and so forth that are, have broke on these, so, I do believe going forward with the double pane solution. There was a triple pane option available, it only adds, it only saves potentially, well, it creates about 20% more efficiency, but what you spend, even when we back out the tax credits for energy, the thousands you have to spend to get $900 in tax savings, not worth it. And then when you even look just at what we would spend in utilities, not that anything's excessive here, double pane's been a standard for quite some time. And the fact is, those the new windows having low ENR will certainly provide a much more energy efficient solution than what we've got in here, so.
Yeah, I think these crankouts are beyond their time. Anything else? Roll call?
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
All right, Scott, thanks. That takes us to the fiscal officer's report. Mr. Wolf?
Thank you. Fiscal Officer number 1 is a resolution to authorize the payment of pending warrants in the amount of $1,653,319.76.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 2 is a resolution to authorize payment of regular payroll in an amount not to exceed $250,000.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 3 is a resolution to authorize payment for the following medical claims.
I will move on fiscal officer number 3.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 4 is the financial report.
Okay, any specific questions? See Tom?
Fiscal,
Number 5.
number 5 is the investment report. Our interest for the month of May was $55,634.62.
Some of the financial institutions are certainly working hard to get
Yep.
together.
It's coming up a little bit. All right, again, any questions specifically to Tom? See him later. Number 6.
Fiscal Officer number 6, a resolution to authorize a refund as follows for overpayments for EMS as requested by Ohio Billing.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 7 is a request for a liquor license by TLIK NC LLC doing business as Misano's Little Italian Kitchen located at 7831 Cleveland Avenue Northwest, North Canton, Ohio, 44720.
Do you have any concerns? from
Any
the sheriff's
issues?
office?
No concerns.
I
Okay.
say let it move forward then,
Yep.
we need to hold it.
Fiscal officer number 8 is a resolution to request approval payment to BWC for group retro annual evaluation for the period January 1, 2020 through January 1, 2021, and January 1, 2021 through January 1, 2022, an amount of $6,704 to be taken from the following funds.
So moved.
Second, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 9 is a resolution to authorize payment to members of the Plain Township Board of Zoning Appeals for the period of January 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2023, at a rate of $50 per meeting for a total of $950.
I will move on fiscal officer number 9.
Second. For second row.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 10 is a resolution to authorize the following transfer of funds.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 11 is a resolution that the Plain Township fiscal officer shall hereby be authorized to transfer the amount of $100,000 from the Fire District Fund number 2111-910-910 into the Fire Truck and Related Equipment Capital Fund number 4901-931.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. For the record, is that just 11A?
Correct. 11A.
Okay, so that would be 11A. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And fiscal officer number 11B is a resolution that the Plain Township fiscal officer shall hereby be authorized to transfer the amount of $146,342.37 from the Fire District Fund number 2111-910-910 into the Fire Ladder Truck and Related Equipment Capital Fund number 4906-931.
So moved.
Second, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
I just, for quick clarity, for the sake of the public that may not understand, why are we shuffling money around, what are capital accounts? Essentially, when you take a look at the investments, especially within fire and the apparatus and so forth, historically, Plain Township does not take loans out on equipment. So what this does is within the levy dollars, in a spirit of transparency, not only to the public, but as well dealing with the county budget commission, they don't necessarily look at your budget and go, well, why are you sitting on X? This is a way, a medic unit, $300,000 plus. Our ladder truck that's currently 10 years old, that cost $1 million, we're gonna call it $1 million, I think it was 900.
Million
Yeah.
plus now.
So, and for example, that same ladder truck, and I know for a fact, because I was just in Wadsworth, they have a 12-year-old newer version of our exact fire truck. It was a demo unit with ours, so it's technically used. They spent $1.5 million. So the purpose of these capital accounts is so we can accrue some of that money over time, because then honestly with the vendors and so forth, whether it's fire equipment, sheriff's equipment, they deal better when it comes to cash, and we're not incurring additional unnecessary expense. So that is the reason for the capital accounts. Just a quick crash course.
That's pretty accurate. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal officer number 12 is a resolution to request an amended certificate of estimated resources from the Stark County Auditor for $589,535.36 and to appropriate these funds as follows.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And that concludes the fiscal officer report.
Thanks. Now, that takes us to the administrator, who, by the way, for the record, is absent this evening, excused on vacation, and I think our law director is filling in.
Yes, thank you. Just one, which is a cleanup resolution to amend resolution number 23-260, just adding about $2,100 to our property purchase that we just made.
Also move on administrator number one.
Second, it's been moved and seconded, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes.
Rick, that takes us to Fire Department Chief Schauberger.
Okay, thank you. Item number one is our monthly report. The pictures there of all our scholarship winners from the proceeds from the Fly the Flag program.
Which outside of the great work in raising those funds and continuing to fund our youth, I just wanna, thanks for the donation to the flagpole back here in the amphitheater.
And the union partnered, up with that and got it, and the construction guys got it up, so it looks good, ahead of time.
Nice.
Again, it's important to note, these are not taxpayer dollars, these are funds that the union has raised through the Fly the Flag program. So when you're driving through the township seeing flags, it's folks who have opted to, fly a flag and then using those proceeds, flagpole scholarships and so forth. These aren't levy dollars.
Okay, any specific questions? See the chief later.
All right, thank
Number
you.
2, Chuck.
All right, number two is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to change the status of Abigail Schaefer from part-time paramedic to part-time paramedic firefighter to increase her wages to $19.25.
I'll move on FD number 2.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded, discussion.
this just falls in line with our approved schedule.
Yeah, certification, so. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number three is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to change the status of Emily Phelps from part-time EMT to part-time EMT firefighter at a wage of $17.75 an hour.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, discussion, same situation. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number four is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize purchase and payment of one E-Z-Go golf cart from Winnendale Golf Cart Sales not to exceed $14,999, which $12,000 of the money will be taken from donations from the Rotary Club of Plain Township.
Oh,
Well
nice.
spent.
I will move on FD number 4.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, discussion. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so obviously through their fundraiser, we were
Yeah.
able to buy the Knox boxes and that.
Oh, that's perfect. And then we included that in the thank you letter and
Yes.
like type of
Yep.
thing.
Again, another way of stretching taxpayer levy dollars through different grants and
We don't
part
take them
partnerships.
for a ride. Okay.
I want to at least the president.
All right, may have to take the president of Rotary for a ride. We'll see. Anything else? Just pass that along also, Chuck broke that, so thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number five is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to offer employment to Brooke Tallman as a part-time EMT pending successful completion of the township's medical examination.
So moved.
I'll have to second it, the name alone.
Yeah, she spells it just.
I know, just like me.
Yeah. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number six is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to accept the resignation of Michaela Charles from Plain Township Fire Department effective June 19th at 7 a.m.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, discussion. She's gone into the Air Force?
Yes.
Good for her.
Yeah, a young lady just finished fire school and is moving on to the Air Force to be in the fire service there.
Oh, good, great. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number seven is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to offer a tuition program to pay for paramedic school for part-time employees with attached agreement for payback of hours upon completion.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, discussion.
I just think in this environment, this is all wiser of a tool to be leaning into. I mean, we get the opportunity to see through the part-time some of the bench strength, that's an attraction to see if they're a fit. For those who are well, helping them get to that next step, and they've got a time commitment to us of a year. I just think this is the prudent thing, and it's done in so many other organizations, so.
There are so many creative programs going on right now for retention and recruitment. And I think this is a good one because there are a lot of people that just can't afford to go to paramedic school. And, you know, I just think this is a good opportunity for them, but even more importantly, I think it's a good opportunity for us. So hopefully this will both help retain and recruit. So, good job, Chuck, for bringing this. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 8 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize purchase and payment for parts and repairs for Ford van unit number 12 to Redmond Auto Supplies.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And item number 9 is a resolution by Plain Township Board of Trustees to change the status of Chase Abdul to part-time EMT firefighter to part-time paramedic firefighter with a wages of $19.25 an hour.
I'll move on FD number 9.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And that concludes fire department. Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck. That takes us to road department.
Thank you. Road item number 1 is our monthly report.
I like the aerial pictures from the drone.
And, shout out to Bill, he got his drone license, and I
Awesome.
think this was his first time, so yeah, he did a great job.
I think one of the things we want to call out there, as we discussed it earlier, is the amount of tickets, you know, work orders that was
Yeah.
result. When you take a look at year over year,
Yeah.
between practices you implemented in leadership, which has included cross-training that quite frankly should have happened before under the prior leadership, there's literally a threefold output in productivity.
And then, you know, big shout out to the crew, those are the guys putting in the work every day in the trenches there. So yeah, we were at 743 this month. You can see 2021 and 2022, we were right around 300. So,
Yeah. Number 2.
road item number 2 is a resolution to authorize purchase and payment to Lepo Incorporated for replacement parts for the Bobcat mini excavator.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you. Road item number 3 is a resolution to authorize purchase and payment to MD Solutions for street signs.
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you. Road item number 4 is a resolution to authorize payment to Southeastern Equipment for service, repair, and parts on the Unit 29 case whittler.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? So all these items that we're buying obviously are repairs, and unfortunately, we don't need them until something breaks down, and then when we go to order them and get them, supply chain says, oh, you'll have it in a couple months,
Yeah, that
type
was
of thing.
10 weeks
Yeah.
on that one.
Yeah.
So that's a
Yeah.
worst case scenario, so hopefully,
Yep.
even if you're half to 5 weeks.
Yeah, so there we are with that piece of equipment,
It's sitting
sitting down waiting on part.
Luckily, we have a backup.
Yeah, I feel your pain. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you. Road item number 5 is a resolution to accept Jason Pappas' resignation effective June 30th, 2023.
I will so move road number 5.
Second's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
I think the record should reflect Jason's been an exceptional
Yeah,
employee
Absolutely.
for the township. It just happens to be,
An opportunity.
yeah, a great opportunity for him and his family to move to southern Ohio on some Saline.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
So through inheriting some farm ground and so forth, but at least fortunate to know that our friends at ODOT are gonna get a really rock
Yeah.
solid
Yeah.
employee, so,
Yeah, he's a hard one to lose. He's a hard worker, you know.
Always pleasant.
Tree, yeah, absolutely, always pleasant. Tree you know, his tree expertise there, so.
Yeah,
He's been training some guys, so I think we're gonna be.
bittersweet. Good
Yeah,
for
it
him.
is, it really is.
It's a losing button.
Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you. Road item number 6 is a resolution to reimburse Martin Smith for the monies received for a culvert installation.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Number 7 is our levy discussion. You had asked at the last meeting for me to prepare what it would look like for a replacement 1.5 and an additional 1.5. This is that legislation. With it is included what we would have to send on, which was our request for certification, as well as the certification we got back on the 3 mills. So it is on for discussion. If you wanted to pass it tonight, you could. That's totally up to you. I've already kind of done my typical due diligence to make sure we're in compliance with Board of Elections and that kind of stuff. So it's ready to go if you are, but if you want to just have discussion on it tonight, that's fine as well. I'm not sure which direction you guys were gonna go, so it's ready if you want it.
But if we do not do it tonight, that doesn't put us behind.
Not at all. We have until August 7th or 9th, I think it's the 9th,
Okay.
to get it on. I like to get it ahead of time just in case there's issues.
Oh,
and we can
absolutely.
Fiddle with it, but we certainly don't have to do it tonight.
And does this include the language where we had discussed last time to where, say, whatever option we would move forward with in this situation, the one that's proposed, if that was to pass, where we would immediately rescind or terminate the.
There would be a gap in time there. You wouldn't want to do it immediately because these funds would first be collected in '24. And
But as soon as the collection of them starts, though, to where it would.
yeah, you'd want to do that sometime in '24, and we did go
So
back and
do it as a
forth
separate-
with,
do it
you
as
would
a
do that as a
separate
totally
road.
separate. And certainly you want to make people aware that that's what you're doing, but you wouldn't want to do that in this legislation.
Yeah, I would just feel a little bit better if we had that overall plan ready to go.
Sure.
And, you know, I'd like a little bit of time just to
Sure.
read it. But,
Yeah, absolutely.
But, you know, I appreciate getting this because what a lot of people don't realize is the state legislature changed the way levies can be done. And every entity, every organization, every governmental body that relies on levies is gonna have to learn the new way to promote a levy and how it's explained. And this will be the first one for us
Yeah.
to do it this way. So, we have to be very cautious about how it's promoted. So, I just wanna make sure that we have all that strategy discussion, which just,
We don't need to end up like North Canton.
yeah, yeah. And it just drives me crazy that the state legislature made all these rules about how things could be done and about not having levies put on in August, but yet they're gonna put on a special election in August. And I just don't understand it.
And I would be remiss, John, if I didn't mention, even on the record, that Debbie Dawson with the Stark County Prosecutor's Office has been wonderful
Oh, good.
to work with. She's
Good.
been so helpful in kind of helping us review and getting compliance with that new statute. So she's been-
And, I mean, it's a learning process
is.
for them too.
It is.
It's just, you know, it's new for everyone, and I think since it's our first time, we just wanna make
Yep.
sure that we have done everything correct. So, I
Absolutely.
appreciate you working.
So it's
on
there
it.
for your review, and we can talk about it when you're ready.
Thank you. Thanks, JP. So you have number 8. Number 8.
Road item number 8 is a resolution to authorize payment to a cut above tree service for tree removal.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you. Road item number 9 is a resolution to contract with JD Striping for the 2023 pavement marking striping project.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Thank you. Last and final item is road number 10 is a resolution to authorize payment to Southway Fence Company for purchase and installation of chain link fence and gate along salt barn.
So moved.
Second's been moved and seconded, discussion. We haven't worked on that for a long time,
No,
so.
it's with
Yeah.
pushing snow up against it,
Yeah.
it's kind of tweaked, so.
That's definitely something we can do. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes. Thanks, JP. That takes us to zoning, Mr. Ferrara.
Thank you, sir. Item number 1 is the monthly report.
Wow, what a difference in the before and after picture.
That was actually falling down. Wow.
Yeah.
God bless the people that made that
Yeah.
investment.
Okay, any specific questions? See, Tom. Number 2.
Item number 2 is a resolution to declare items A through C as nuisance abatements.
So moved.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And item number 3 is a resolution to declare items A through D as nuisance abatement pays.
So moved.
Second?
Brooke, second. It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
And I'll leave item 4 for our law director. If you
Thank you, sir. Item 4 is a towing resolution that you have, John.
I do.
That is for a specific property with a couple of junk motor vehicles that we've declared through the court process, and then to belt and suspenders it. We're doing that, which is a notification process that includes mail, posting, and publication.
Which is typical of how we have to follow.
Exactly.
I will move on. Zoning number 4.
Second?
Second, Brooke.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And that's all for parks.
Thanks, Tom. That takes us to.
You're zoning.
Yeah,
I went the wrong way.
yeah, you're trying to trick me, aren't you? Thanks, Tom. That now takes us to parks.
That's what I
Mr.
understand.
Stamper.
Thank you to everybody. Monthly report is number 1.
Just for the record, we did prior to our meeting, we did do a presentation for a donation for Ed Art Park. And there was a large group that was there, which were family members and friends. And I appreciate you putting that together. I think it meant a lot to the family.
My pleasure, my honor.
Anything specific?
Nope.
See, Rob. Let's go to number 2.
Number 2 is a resolution to increase Brady's Minus pay rate per the completion of his probationary year.
I'll move on. Parks 2.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Item number 3 is a resolution to advertise for bid for the Diamond Park barn roof replacement.
So moved.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Discussion.
Just to clarify, this is part of the capital
Correct.
funds that we had secured, so.
Yes.
It is
Again, no levy dollars.
not,
Good point. Anything else? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
item number 4 is a resolution to authorize the entire proposal for engineering services from Hammond Tree and Associates for the Easton Street Dog Park parcel.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And finally, item number 5 is a resolution to authorize payment to Dan Bernard for 3 drum risers for the amphitheater stage.
So moved.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thanks, that's
Thanks, Rob. Nothing for the law director. Thanks for filling in.
Sure.
No communications. This brings us to the portion of our meeting of public speaks. there's anyone in the audience that wishes to address the board on any issue, please feel free to either come up to the mic if you choose. You don't have to. You can give whatever, ask or say whatever you want from your spot. The only thing I would ask.
We no longer have the speakers up because they didn't work, so it
Oh, okay, yeah.
may be necessary to come up to there.
So the only mic then that's gonna pick up anything would be this one. Is that correct?
Correct.
I apologize. I didn't realize our other mics weren't working. So to get anyone that's gonna speak on record, they are gonna have to come up to the podium at the mic. Is there anyone in the audience? So when you come up, if you would be so kind as to give your name and address for the record.
Sure. John Maruli, 926 South Coppin Circle Northeast. And I'm just here on behalf of several of the former members of Rough Run Dog Park to try to get an update on the status of what's going on at the current facility.
Moving forward, it's no longer a dog park. It's gonna be utilized as an open green space and parking for events with the amphitheater and so forth. So it'll be open green space use to the public as a whole. There's gonna be openings put within the existing fencing. Trees are gonna be trimmed up, some removed to address it. So
So there'll be no dog park at
there
all.
will be, the only dog park there is the one that's over at Veterans Park that's been there. Township's not gonna operate a secondary dog park nor a private dog park. We bought it for sake of different uses.
So it's gonna remain empty for now.
It'll remain green space slash
It's
used for
fenced.
parking for the amphitheater and so forth.
So it's not green space, not fenced in.
It's still technically green space.
We're locked out though.
Yeah, for right now, until we are able to make the changes necessary. So, yeah. I don't know, what are you looking for? I mean, we've purchased it, it's gonna be for use primarily parking, and when it's not parking for amphitheater events, it'll be open, if somebody wants to sled ride in the winter, they'll be able to do it over there. If they wanna go over and have a picnic, they can do that as well. But outside of opening the fence for traffic to come in and out, we've met with the county engineer, and we've met with the engineer. I mean, am I missing anything, guys?
No,
While we
that's
were over there?
one of the resolutions we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the resolution.
What was the reference to Hammond Tree study on the east end street dog park?
It's for figure out the maximum number of parking spaces and so forth. There's some site work.
So you just said the dog park, it's not, it's for parking.
It's just referencing it as how the parcel was currently known. There, no dog park moving forward over there as of our closure last week.
Is there anyone else that wishes to address the board?
Name's Teresa Maruli. I'm at 6463 Strawberry Field Circle Northeast. As the parking is going to be at the former Rough Run Dog Park for the events for the amphitheater, our concern being right behind Drug Mart Plaza, there will be extensive traffic. It will be going in front of our street and the following street. And how is traffic control going to be managed so that residents on those streets can get in and out of their properties without, there's gonna be traffic backups? And how's that gonna be managed?
The sheriff will be working the crosswalk up there, so individuals will be able to safely cross Easton. So any type of traffic control will be tied to an event plan. But, as far as for, what do we figure, there's approximately 20, maybe 30 event days there. So 320 some day, almost 340 days of the year. It's gonna be normal traffic operation there. On the days outside of that, it'll be, between, event planning, having sheriff for ensuring appropriate crossing and so forth.
We're not planning events every day or every weekend.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
so it won't be that much, I'll be worried about one.
And what prevents people from the community parking on the side streets instead of at the former dog park?
Nothing, which it's actually a legally permissible, use of roadway anywhere in the township, because they're not, just because the folks live on the street, whether I'm over on Teakwood or there's state law permits, as long as it's a licensed and operable vehicle, can park along the street all day long, anywhere in the township.
And what options do we have to prevent people that are parking on the street from walking through our common space in the yards to get up to the amphitheater?
I mean, it's private property, it'd be a call the sheriff for trespassing. Am I missing? I mean, Ryan, can you?
No, that'd be correct. And any events that they're having out here, we're gonna have staff on hand that will be in the area and can help monitor things like that. We're keeping an eye on any on-street parking, make sure they're within the law. People cutting through.
Because the only way to avoid on-street parking is to have no parking signs put up. But one, I'll go into this a little bit while keeping it abbreviated. If you want no parking signs, the folks within your street are gonna have to sign a petition, and you're gonna have to request, do you want it on one side or both sides of the street? And I can tell you historically, every time we field it, one half goes, well, I don't want it on my side of the street, I want it on the other side of the street. And anywhere where it says no parking, it doesn't mean just for events. So if you look to have family and friends over for a gathering, that means that them as well. So, in the instance, okay, hey, it helps address the events, but hey, I've got a larger crowd for a family reunion or something, the sheriff we can have them ticketed and towed regardless. So that's the downside and the reality to, the no parking.
But we can make reports to the sheriff department for
Correct.
trespassers.
Oh, absolutely.
But just also, that is a truly valid concern, because in our strategic planning program right now, correct me if I'm wrong, that is a bullet point that we're gonna be looking at the possibility of temporarily no parking on some of the streets around when we know those big events are gonna be going on. Because we do that now around the Hall of Fame. So all we do in that case is pass a resolution for that time frame. And then, do you use paper signs over there?
Yeah, almost like a corrugated.
Yeah, they use, and they're just temporary, but that, for that time frame, creates a no parking zone. Okay, but remember, when we do that, you can't have a bunch of friends come over and say, oh, it's okay for you to park in the street.
Right.
Because whether you're friends or not, that has been created a temporary no parking, and that means, as Scott explained, no parking.
I mean, even just to build off of that, because there's allotments throughout the township. where
Some over
Some
this way
folks,
too.
your driveways sit empty, the garage, and vehicles are on the drive, even your own, everything's gotta be in the driveway, off the road.
Okay.
And, hopefully, obviously, as part of our planning, when we start to look at where we're gonna need to do those, if homeowners association is involved, or, we have to go door to door and discuss how it is that we wanna do it. But that's already been a discussion, knowing full well that, there's gonna be people that are gonna say, hey, I have a shortcut, I know where I can park. And we don't want that to happen.
Okay, thank you.
Sure you will. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Mary Joseph. I live 6875 Deer Trail Avenue Northeast. And I also just wanted to ask about the former dog park. Did you say that it was going to still be considered, it'll still be green space, where people, when it's not used for parking, you could still go over there and it would be like a park? Is that what it is?
Correct.
Okay, well, will there still be some fencing around where the street is, or is that all gonna be taken down?
Not all of it, there will be openings for the traffic to flow in and out. So once you come in, once you come in into the complex area off of Easton, so we're leaving Township Hall, we're heading east, we hang a left into the entrance. There's a couple trees that are gonna be removed, the others are gonna be trimmed up, sections of fence moved out to where you would be able to
Well, I guess maybe, I'm thinking mainly along, the
Easton.
main road, yeah.
Yeah,
Easton.
that's all still.
That'll still be
stay there.
fenced.
Oh, okay, because I mean, is it possible that someone, see, that the main problem that I found is going to Veterans Park is trying to walk that big long path, especially if you have a dog that's pulling and you have, you know, and you can't walk very well, you know, so that's why I don't go there often, but, I mean, is it still possible to take a dog over there if you want to, if it's not being used as a parking lot?
I don't see why it would be.
We typically allow dogs on all
Yeah.
roads.
You would have to clean it.
Yeah.
The expectation would be the same, no different than if you're out and about in your allotment, or you're one of your parks, your dog, you know, leaves in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, they should take
It
it
shall
down.
be cleaned up.
Yeah, I would,
But,
yeah.
yeah,
and-
but we would, I mean, just like any of our other parks, we welcome dogs as long as we have after with them. I don't see that as being an issue. We supply dog bags at all the parks and shuttle stations, so you can do those at your convenience and,
Yeah, I take my dog to Diamond Park and it's very easy access and easy.
Oh, okay, I'll have to try that too. But what I think a lot of people miss is that big long line of pine trees. I hope that's not gonna be cut down, because even just walking there, even if you don't have a dog, it's just very pretty, that long path. They called it the woods, I guess. But I'm hoping that at least that would stay.
You mean everything on the north side?
It shields the apartments.
Inside the apartments.
Yeah, none of that's gonna be touched.
If anything, we're looking to probably create a little more of a.
Yeah. Buffer.
A buffer and barrier there.
Oh, yeah, that would be good, yeah, so I guess if you want, you could take a dog back in that area, as long as, okay, well, that sounds good, all right, well, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
I'm not from Plain Township, I'm from Jackson Township.
Well,
but I
that's quite all
represent
right. We welcome
my
people from
father-in-law,
Jackson
who was
Township.
at 3615 Rolling Bridge Street, right up the road.
Mhm.
For the safety of my father-in-law and other people in this area, during these special events they are having on Friday nights, Saturday nights, whatever nights they are, will they have someone directing cars so we're not having accidents right around this hill? And like she said, coming off of Strawberry, what's the name of your street that we said?
Yeah.
Strawberry Field. Because
Captain-
that can
that's
become
exactly
very
what Captain
dangerous.
Carver spoke to.
Yeah.
Okay, so they will have someone directing traffic or possibility of later on doing a traffic light?
Yes.
Well, one I can tell you, with certainty on this one, from the county engineer, there's no traffic light going
Okay,
in
well,
there.
at least someone to
Yeah,
Yes.
help control the traffic,
Yeah.
because I'm in Jackson Township, and I just know from experience
Go to
going to
North Park.
concerts,
Absolutely.
it draws in a lot of outside people, not just people from Plain
Correct.
Township. So for the safety of, people that I'm close to, I just wanna make sure that
Yep.
they're addressing
Yeah,
it.
our partners that we have been working with, and all the stakeholders, the sheriff and the county engineer are the two big ones when it comes to sight distance, traffic, where we're gonna place people, where a crosswalk is gonna go, all those types of things. And that's all in the strategic planning right now.
Okay, and also too, I did, help out with one of the concession stands last year over there, and I was part of selling the alcohol for one of the, for the swim team of Jackson. But I wanna make sure too that if there are people that are heavily intoxicated from, drinking too much at the concerts, that they're monitoring that as well.
That's a normal,
Okay,
normal practice, no different than like this past weekend, we had the 720 Side Street Market. Because the entire area back there is designated as a door, typically there's a sheriff's deputy or deputies at that event, and we would expect, and I'm sure Captain Carver, you keep me honest here, I mean, we would expect the deputies enforce it at the event, no different than any other
okay.
time. There would be, if anything, there would be a heavier concentration uniformed deputies or potentially unmarked deputies for the sake of capturing individuals. So, I mean, from personal experience and watching stuff out here on Easton, clearly alcohol makes people do stupid things.
Well,
There's
we
no
had
other
a
way
death
around it.
accident right down the road from my father.
Yeah.
So.
And I actually
That is
used to live in
grandma.
the lot, but I've also seen kids literally coming over to the plaza, lay down in the middle of Easton thinking it's cute, thinking it's funny, because
Yeah.
I've tracked them down and they're going back to the apartment. So there will certainly be proper safety forces staffing between fire, police, EMS.
Okay.
maintenance.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is a little different, just for the sake of everybody out there, it's a little different type of setup in terms of just being an amphitheater, because technically we have 3 different jurisdictions in this area. The first is the private property owned by the plaza. The second is the public property, our park and amphitheater. And the third is the Dora, which actually overlaps both of those. So there's gonna be specific things that are gonna be required depending on what jurisdiction is actually taking place. But from an alcohol standpoint, that's all governed by the Dora. Did I say that correct?
Which technically we can change the rules of the
Yeah,
door should
right.
we experience
Yeah.
issues, so.
So, no outside alcohol can be brought in. I mean, there's just a bunch of things, and then, you know, in that strategic plan, we've already discussed with the command staff at the sheriff's office as to what they believe the number of deputies need to be on site, what events are going on. I mean, we've looked at a lot of things, and, you know, we know it's gonna be a concern for everybody, and it's a concern for us too. So, you know, it's just, there'll be some growing pains. Thank you, though.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I have-
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Lisa Dyer. I live at 2509 56th Street Northeast. I'm just trying to be clear on the dog park. The structure itself, there's a division with the big dog, little dog side. Will all of that be torn down, or will there still be a portion? Okay, so
Yeah,
there will
actually,
be
the
nothing to
exterior-
contain.
The exterior edges of the fence, there's nothing that small chicken fence type.
There'll be no segmented, but to my understanding, there's gonna be a fence totally around the perimeter.
That's my understanding of it as well.
That's
A
exactly.
gated
Okay,
fence
okay,
that will be all the way around the perimeter, but the subdivisions,
are gone.
yeah.
Okay, so I mean, we could still go there.
Oh, absolutely,
And our dogs can't get out.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Rob, what were
No,
you gonna
that's
say?
not-
Well,
That's not true, because we're
Why?
taking down the trees, because when we come in,
Scott, there's still gonna be a gate and a fence there.
we said we were gonna create openings in it. There was no talk of adding gates that, well, for the sake of vehicles coming in and out of there.
No, having that roll fence. I thought we were having a roll fence.
That's
We were
what I
told-
thought.
That wasn't my
No,
understanding.
we were told the roll, what are they called, where the fence?
Roll
Yeah,
gates.
the-
Yeah, roll
yeah.
gates.
Okay, well, that's, okay,
Yeah.
well, that's,
Yeah, roll
Oh,
gates.
yeah, roll
gates.
It has to be closed.
Yeah.
Per Stark County.
Yeah, because
okay.
if we didn't have roll gates, then we'd have to put something across there, because people be driving in there in times when we don't want them to drive
We
there.
have.
Okay. I
To
didn't.
have the privacy
I
for
didn't
the
know.
park, for the dogs, and
That's my
for the people there, the
misunderstanding.
safety, so the dogs, if
What's
they
that?
They're
get
not gonna
this,
be,
don't run off.
So it's a park, so it'll continue to be mowed and, you know,
Correct.
maintenance
We've
and all
been
that,
mowing it, yes,
so.
ma'am.
correct.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Did you have any comments that you wanted to say?
No, I think they've covered, the roll gates are simply to protect for when there are not supposed to be cars in there, to keep
Yes.
cars out. The roll gate's intention is to be able to fit cars in there, but also large swaths of bodies moving in and out of there as well. I'm gonna say this wrong, but I'm gonna try it anyway. The southwest end of the gate, which is the closest space to the crosswalk with which people would enter and exit that from the park. When those aren't being used for parking, it will, to my understanding, be an open green space to which it can be used for a multifaceted space, like all the above that we had talked about, but the external structure of the fencing will remain. It's going to change a little bit to accommodate the new usage,
Right.
but there will be a border fence around the entirety of that green space as it sits currently.
So if you went there, would you just continue to park where we used to park across from the fire station? But I mean, there would be a place for us to park
Yes, ma'am.
somewhere.
Yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
All right,
Yes, ma'am.
perfect. Thank you.
So we did, just to be clear, when, did you meet with Southway down there to discuss about those?
We-
And it was manual roll gates, right?
Manual roll
Not-
gates.
Yeah, they're not electrically operated, or they
No.
are just simply roll.
They are rolled to prevent
Yeah.
the swing in or out to damage anything or anyone.
It wasn't part of any of that, so
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we stuck with roll gates as they're used at the yard waste. They won't swing
Yeah.
or come loose and hit anything or anyone
Yeah.
for the safety purpose.
Makes sense.
Anything else?
I guess I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am,
Sorry.
Lisa.
Thank you.
Remember your name, because I knew another gal named Lisa down there.
Will the events, when will the events start?
That's fair. So,
August 10th.
He plans everything,
Okay.
so.
Does it come out in the bulletin that we get in the
so
mail?
it will, but there's also a website. The website is live. PlainTownshipAmphitheater.com will give you information on the venue, the events coming and booked, okay? And what you can expect from them. Right now, August 10th is the opening. We are under contract with Brass Transit, which is a Chicago tribute band. And then the following week, we are under contract with the Shootouts, which is to my knowledge, a modern country band. Those are the two big ones for August. Okay? And more information on all of that will come forth as we are currently working on the operations and the safety plan. We had a safety meeting last week, as Trustee Sabo mentioned. There are a lot of I think every one of our department heads was in the meeting. I know Trustee Sabo sat in on the meeting. I know the Stark County Sheriff's Office was represented. Our goal is to make it as safe and as user-friendly as possible. We understand we don't know what we don't know, so we're continuing to work those out as we move forward. And those parking plans and the identification of those parking areas will be identified on that website with directions prior to the concert. But I didn't want to tell you where, when, and how yet, because I'm not sure that we've landed on that completely yet. Okay.
Could we use the park now? It's locked. So
It-
at what
it-
point will it not be locked?
We are due to have the fence company come in the next couple of weeks to start making those changes.
Until the
I
changes-
can't speak for the board.
Until the changes are done, I am not in favor of.
I just mentioned the schedule, so I was going towards. Yeah, that we have changes that have to be made, and we are working on getting those scheduled as we speak.
Until those are instituted, I'm not.
Well, what we could do, once we get our fencing complete, I'm pretty sure Lisa has all of your email addresses. Don't you have like an email tree, email contact?
The owner, or the old owners had our email.
But we have that, don't we?
We haven't been in receipt of it yet, we're working.
Oh, okay, all right. We have requested that so that we could communicate back out with you people as to what, to at least keep you guys informed of what it was that we were doing, because we've been having discussions of, how we could interact, so.
Yeah, she's not gonna provide you with that though, unfortunately.
Her response was she didn't sell you the dog park, she sold the property.
She'll probably open another dog park up the road. So,
Oh, well,
that's why she
okay.
don't wanna give we give you
Yeah.
our information.
Yeah.
Can we provide you with that
How about
information?
well,
Call it a township.
yeah, let's do that.
If they call me, I'll happily take that information.
Yeah, so before you go, at least one of you working together, if you get your information to Rob, and then he'll reach back out to you.
That's what we need.
Thank
Because our goal, obviously, we have a specific use for it, but we don't wanna use it 8 times a year. We wanted all those other, you do the math, 350 something. Bless you.
33 or 40.
We wanna use it for something, we didn't even think of it at first until somebody said, wow, that'd be a nice sled riding hill for the kids in the wintertime. We're like, Wow, yeah, that is,
We have someone here.
We have used
it.
I went down it once, yeah.
so it's easier for you to go down the hill than it is up the hill.
Now, is there a
Anything
form-
else?
Is there a form we could sign as dog park, as park members that would relieve of any liability of us using the park in the interim?
I don't think we're quite ready for that yet. We would kind of, in the interim, just want to make sure that anything that we are doing with the property, it's, you know, we don't have to worry about somebody being there and, you know, that type. I myself would feel more comfortable. I don't know how you guys feel, but.
I'm right there.
So let's just for now, we'll get your information to Rob, and then, did Southway, they say they were gonna get back to us with a quote, and,
They got back to us on reviewing the quote as we speak. I haven't
Okay.
had a chance to sit down and review it because I've been pulled away the last couple of
Alright.
days back here. That was like,
The
So-
trees will be cut Thursday.
yeah,
So we're on schedule for Thursday, weather
Okay.
permitting.
see, some of those changes are coming and it's gonna be a safety issue for folks back
Yeah, I
here before
know,
cutting
yeah.
trees.
because we are gonna limb some trees up, there are some that we're gonna have to remove so we can have it, ingress and egress from that property. But pretty much how you see it, with the exception of openings going in that, east fence that runs north and south along our property, which, you know, we've had an agreement with that park anyhow. What a lot of people don't realize is,
That wasn't the park, it
Yeah.
was parking.
we've had an agreement that everywhere where you guys would normally park, that's our property. So, but we've said, we don't wanna put a fence along here, we wanna be good neighbors, but, that's still gonna be there. But during events, you know, there's gonna be a specific, some of you people that worried about traffic flow and that type of thing, which is a legitimate concern. There's gonna be a specific in and out in that property down there. So the idea is to keep traffic moving as much as we can to get it both in smoothly and out smoothly. So it's all a part of the strategic planning. All good questions, though. Anything else?
And the wooded area has two lines of fence.
That is correct.
Are they both gonna remain?
I'm pretty sure,
This back-
I can't
Are you
speak
talking on
for,
the north edge?
Yes.
The north edge that abut? I think from when we were done.
my consensus would be, I wouldn't wanna touch it, because we can't use anything there, and we'd have to work to take it down anyhow, it wouldn't make, that's just me, you know? So, you know, if you were to take a dog down there, from a safety standpoint, they're not gonna get into any kind of, like fluids that might leak from the vehicles and that type of thing. So, that's me talking though. We haven't, it just makes sense to me to leave that.
Since that has a separate gate on the east end, can we use that in the interim?
There's no access to the property right now until we get our changes done.
Anything else? Thank you all for coming. And that then takes us to concerns of trustees, number one, thank you.
All right, first one, I wanna give, recognition to Brian Cole, out of the Stark County Sheriff's Office, along with Dave Torrance. Dave kicked it over to Brian, but between him and working along with Ryan, we were able to get some new signage out on East End close to Butler. It had some residents that had previously expressed concerns just about, again, hills, elevation, line of sight, incidents, and so forth. Able to get some flashing lighting up there. So as you're heading east on Easton, before you come to Butler, it's essentially warning for the crossing. To credit for Brian, he was quick to pull historical accident reporting and stuff, and then Brian Cole had hurried up and jumped on it as well. So just giving those guys kudos there. Next thing I had, I just want this on the record, because I believe we all got this email. There was a request for over on the south
Yes.
side of 62, behind Walmart, I forget which specific street, but, traffic calm.
Andrew?
Yes,
Andrew?
yes. So traffic calming or types of devices to look at. We, kicked that over to JP. JP did some research. I know historically we have not done speed bumps and so forth because it creates a whole other, it's a slippery slope and it creates a whole other set of issues. But even with these speed tables, based upon the costs that come back for those, it's not advantageous. Again, it's just maintaining a different, style instead of a speed bump. It'd be, they're,
It's like a home or something, isn't it?
and they're about seven, eight grand
Yeah, for
a
one.
piece. So I just wanted the record to reflect, we've researched it. I think we're all in alignment, or that we're not gonna entertain that. Again, the traffic concerns over there relate to, some that are speeding issues that are perceived, because we've set the speed trailer over there in the past, and the reporting doesn't always report out. Are there outliers? Yes, there are, but then as well, from the aspect, you start doing it there, everybody's gonna want them, and it's not an expense that the township can afford on a recurring basis, so. That, and then I know I will let Brooke do hers, and then I need to add just one more.
You just want to push up?
Yeah, if you don't mind. We previously talked about the whole chair of honor, the Rolling Thunder, Skanzu. They asked, because their members are available on weekends, they ordered the plaque, I'm gonna say for August of 2023. They were asking to look at a Saturday, had originally thrown out whether August 5th or 12th, could do that ceremony, because honestly, just the pouring of the pad's gonna be quick, easy work. We're not dealing with significant grade. They will provide us the chair and all the other materials so we can get it installed, but I just wanted to be able to see, if not tonight, if, August 5th or 12th would work better.
Yeah, either of those.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be back by then.
So I can tell
Either
Bob.
one.
Either one,
Okay.
yep.
Perfect, yep,
Either one.
perfect, thank you.
Okay, Brooke?
I just wanted to announce I'm really excited about this project. I am big about green space and gardens and so forth and parks. We have installed a pollinator garden at Veterans Park by the pond in a collaboration with the Stark Trumbull Area Realtors, the Ohio Realtors, the National Association of Realtors, awarded the Ohio Leadership Academy of Realtors a $7,500 grant. They reached out to me and asked if I had any ideas of doing a placemaking project, and I gave them 17 different ideas that I had, and one of them was this. And so we installed it on Monday. We have a bench out there, we have a dedication plaque, it's beautiful, I'm so excited. The placemaking grants are to be able to support getting gathering places and of course with green space. So if you ever have a chance to go to the Veterans Park or the dog park over there, you'll see it. It's beautiful, and we're hoping that we'll see a lot of
I
butterflies.
saw it today. It looks
You
very
saw
nice.
it,
And hummingbirds.
Yep, and hummingbirds, so
Nice
I'm very
work.
excited.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, anything else? Okay, that takes us to the approval of the minutes for the special meeting on May 23rd, and I will move for the approval of those minutes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes. And I will move for approval of the minutes of the May 23rd regular meetings.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes. And we do have a need for an executive session. Be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to adjourn to executive session at 7:09 PM from this regular meeting of June 13, 2023 is authorized under Ohio Revised Code 121.22G for the purpose of the consideration of 1B, the employment of a public employee or official, and 1F, the compensation of a public employee or official.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mrs. Harless?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes. Thank you all for coming. Thanks for your input.
Thank you for your patience.